Got some Cowboy questions for you. You do a good job covering this team, so I'm going to ask you some questions about it.
Let's do it.
Deuce Vaughn making this football team?
Man, that is an awesome question. I think that
is that to buy you some time?
No,
to think about it.
I'm leaning. No, he's going to be a practice squatter. Okay. I think that they're going to have Zeke, Rico, and Malik Davis. Although I will say, Deuce showed a little bit more than Malik Davis did for me personally with his running style, and especially if they do like Deuce as a receiver, I think I would go Deuce over Malik. But this goes back to they were kind of hyping up Malik Davis a week ago. Was that just fluff, or do they actually really love him? I'm going to just buy that they actually do love him. And I think Deuce Vaughn, with how little he's done so far in his NFL career and the size, the fact he was a 6th-round pick, that might be a guy you can have clear waivers and bring back as a practice squad player.
I think it's so unfortunate. The things that we saw during OTAs and minicamp, they look like they had a clear plan for him. The backfield stuff, the slot stuff, all those things. It looked like to me that they were thinking about, okay, we got some things we need to figure out and we can do it. Him getting hurt out here, I think that killed any kind of momentum he was having coming from OTAs. And so is Malik Davis your third back then?
Yes.
Okay. So you have him over Royce Freeman in that regard, right?
Yeah, personally. Yeah, just because they were talking up Malik. And I thought Royce Freeman ran the ball very, very hard, but I don't know. There's not a difference to me between what Royce Freeman's bringing you and Zeke. You got to choose between the two.
Maybe a little bit more quickness. Now.
Yeah, with Royce?
With Royce,
I agree, but they're not going to cut Zeke. And
they're not.
That ultimately might be the dude that you need to.
Not. Has Jalen Cropper played himself off this football team?
Ooh, yes, I think so. And I didn't know that Jalen Cropper would really have a chance to make it because I think that the 5 spots are spoken for. Now, if they go 6, then he was going to fight for a spot. But I think you think
Ryan Flournoy's the 5th?
I think it is going to be CD because I think CD's back week 1. It's Cooks, it's Tolbert, it's Brooks, and Turpin. Those are your 5. And I think Flournoy would be the 6th because they drafted him. They like their draft pick. So if they kept 6, I think it would be Flournoy. And Cropper might be a guy, again, that they try and bring back on the practice squad. But that fumble was a huge thing for him. He could not afford to do that. And he had every chance to step up, and he did not make the most of it.
Do you feel like, though, that now the receiver position for the 5th spot is still open with guys like Billy Johnson, Cropper, those kinds of guys, or you think it's a shut deal?
I think it's a shut deal. I think the 5 that I mentioned are the 5 that are going to be on the team.
Okay. At tight end, what if I told you that Luke Schoonmaker is the 3rd tight end on this list?
Music to my ears. I mean, it took a week of practice. I was like, John Stevens is your number 2 tight end. The question I had would be the blocking, and he blocked pretty darn well the other night. So
yeah. Schoonmaker wasn't bad on some of the combo stuff that they did.
Yeah, you know, and Schooney will be on the team. I mean, as your 3rd dude, fine with me. But I like Stevens.
If he wasn't a 2nd-round pick, would he be on this team?
I think that he's still shown more than Brevin Spanford, which is disappointing because I thought Spanford would have a really good chance.
I had a lot of hope for Spanford, but I think the fate's been sealed for him as well. I totally agree there. What if I told you that this team is thinking about maybe using T.J. Bass at offensive tackle some?
I would be shocked, and I heard you say that this morning with Sean and RJ. But what the hell? They've tried him basically now at every single position, center, guard, and now it would be tackle, and I get it. They've got no depth. With Chuma Edoga out, Josh Ball can't play tackle. Awesome Richards is the dude they should be playing more.
Right.
Well, let's go. Played the entire game, bless his heart.
Yes.
You had a promising report on him, so maybe he's making strides there. Probably a right side dude, though. I don't know that you want him on the left side.
Yeah.
So this could just be, man, we don't have any options. We need to get somebody that can at least suit up and give us some snaps against the Chargers.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's the same way. When he was out there working in the mock game, I was sitting there thinking about they don't want to put Matt Waletzko out there another whole game. They just don't want to do it. So we've seen T.J. Bass play tackle before in college.
Yeah,
right?
Oregon, yeah.
So yeah, maybe this is one of these things they're doing it out of necessity. But all of a sudden, if it turns into like, well, man, he wasn't terrible out there, that all of a sudden, is that an encased glass break kind of a thing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you need an emergency. All right. Do you feel like that they're done bringing in defensive tackles?
Ooh. I mean, look, I love the Jordan Phillips edition. Ultimately, no. I think that's a spot that they're going to be hunting all year long. And I mean, Linval Joseph's the name that I've kept throwing out there. You know, I know Paul Gunther's got a history there. So does Mike Zimmer.
Like week 2, I believe.
But I think that you're onto something with that. Like, that made a ton of sense. Where if you sign the veteran, it's a guaranteed deal. I think week 1, you see what you have. You've at least got Phillips and Osa now that you know can line up and give you good football. We'll see about Mozzie in the rotation. What do they want to do with Golston? Justin Rogers, the rookie, could give you a little something. He's impressed, I think, when we got to see him out there at practice. But that's certainly one, especially if there's an injury, they're going to have to keep adding to that defensive tackle spot.
What if I told you that Albert Huggins has a chance to make this football team?
Oh, man, a week ago, I would say you're crazy. Are you kidding me? Why didn't they cut him after he knocked over that coach? But he was surprisingly pretty damn good when it came to the game against the Raiders.
This is the reason why I think he has a chance. Just for what you just said. They didn't let him go. They could have got rid of him when they needed when they were hunting roster spots. They kept the guy around.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do anything with him. So that tells me something, that they maybe wanted to give him more of a look. I know he played pretty well the other day for you, though. And you're trying to kind of figure out, though, your backup 3. I know Jordan Phillips has played some 3 technique stuff. That's kind of what he is. I think he's going to do some 3, but he's also going to play some 1 technique. So they're still hunting guys there. Have we seen the last of Fehoko?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I threw this your way.
Could you put him and Eric Scott in that role?
Yeah, and I was wondering, like, okay, is there any way you could package, you call up Washington, you say, here's Eric Scott Jr., here's Junior Fehoko, you know Dan Quinn loved him, can we get back somebody? You know, can you get back Ridgeway, who you cut, that Mike McCarthy was part of the drafting for? I mean, Ridgeway, I think bigger body might fit what Zim wants to do. Is there a running back that you could get? I mean, we've seen Washington and Dallas make some trades before. You've obviously got a lot of connections. Joe Witt Jr., defensive coordinator. Maybe they've got a plan for those 2 guys. But, yeah, I think those are 2 players, that old Dan Quinn regime, that are in danger of not making the squad.
All right, my final thing with you here. I think I'm right on time, right? Are we good on time right now?
Fantastic on time, yeah.
Okay. Let me know if it's because I'm different with the clock. I don't want to mess up our next
guest. You probably got another minute or so.
Okay, real quick then on this. I've got it down to the final cornerbacks.
Okay.
How would you handicap this group? Israel Mukuamu, Andrew Booth, and then Keeman Hall.
I'm a big Hall fan, but I think Booth, with the trade, they're probably going to have him. I'd probably go 1 Booth, 2 Hall, 3 Mukuamu. I think they know what Mukuamu is at this point, and the fact that he's not getting more run, it speaks volumes to me. Like, that's a guy that like what happened with Nashawn Wright. You've been here. We've seen you. I was surprised he didn't get more playing time last year after how he played against Tampa Bay in the playoff game by moving inside and in the slot. I think he needs to stay at corner. I don't like the safety corner stuff. I think he's a corner. So he might be in danger.
Let me throw some numbers at you real quick before I leave you on Mukuamu's game. 50% of his throws or his coverages were tight window throws. His average separation on his guys was 1.9 yards. There were 4 targets, 0 receptions. Hall, 13% tight window throws, 3.2 yards of separation, 63% catch on him. Booth, 25% tight window throws, 2.7 yards of separation, 58% catch on him. The metrics told you that Mukuamu played a better game than those other 2 guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think Izzy's going away. I think he's going to get more opportunity. I think the last cornerback spot is up for grabs, and those are the guys I think are kind of
all
playing
3 fighting for that one spot.
Yep.
That's a juicy one heading into that game against the Chargers.